Welcome to Scale Art Lab. Our previous video, 10 Tanks No Model Collection is Complete Without, received a lot of feedback and comments, where you shared your own must-have tanks. So, this time, I've put together a list entirely based on your suggestions. Consider this the viewer's edition of the ranking. Get comfortable. Let's begin. The Matilda might not have been the most mentioned tank in the comments, but it definitely deserves a spot in our ranking. With its unique look, fascinating history, and role in key battles, it's a must-have model for any collection. At the start of World War II, the Matilda was Britain's main infantry tank, and it saw plenty of action. France, 1940, held its own against German tanks, but struggled against Luftwaffe air attacks. North Africa, 1940 to 1942, dominated Italian armor, but was eventually outgunned by newer German tanks. Eastern Front, 1941 to 1945, sent to the Soviet Union under Lend-Lease. The USSR received 918 Matildas, and Soviet crews had mixed feelings about it. They loved its thick armor, but the 2-pounder gun felt underpowered, and maintenance wasn't easy. The tank stayed in Soviet service until 1944, mostly on the Northwestern Front and in battles around Leningrad. When it comes to Matilda model kits, the go-to choice is, of course, Tamiya. They offer several paint schemes: classic British, desert, and even a Soviet version, so there's something for everyone. Other options include Airfix with an unusual 1/76 scale Matilda, Zvezda in 100th scale, Italeri in 1/72nd scale. At the end of the day, the Matilda is one of those tanks you recognize instantly. Tough armor, rich history, and a well-earned spot in the world of scale modeling. The M48 Patton is one of those tanks that you just can't imagine scale modeling without. It's a true legend, and here's why. First off, this tank was everywhere. Since the 1950s, it's been rolling through history in major conflicts like the Vietnam War, the Arab-Israeli Wars, the Indo-Pakistani Wars. And of course, it was a key player during the Cold War, standing guard for NATO now. If you're into model kits, you'll find tons of M48 options from the best manufacturers. Tamiya, great for both beginners and advanced builders. Dragon, packed with details, including photo-etched parts. Academy, solid quality at an affordable price. TACOM and AFV Club, perfect if you love high detail and interior kits. This means that no matter your skill level, there's an M48 kit waiting for you. One of the best things about this tank? Endless customization. It came in so many different versions, and nearly every army that used it put its own spin on it. You can build a battle-worn American M48 from Vietnam with a dusty green finish and Israeli Magog, rocking that sandy desert look and extra armor plates. A German or South Korean M48 covered in cool camouflage patterns. And even if someone knows nothing about modeling, they'll recognize this tank. It's been in movies, video games, and countless historical photos. At the end of the day, the M48 Patton is a must-have for any modeler. It's historically significant, endlessly customizable, and just plain awesome to build. If you don't have one on your shelf yet, well, what are you waiting for? The IS-2 isn't just a tank, it's a World War II legend. If you're into scale modeling, sooner or later, you'll have to build this beast. Why? Because it was one of the most powerful tanks of World War II. Its 122mm gun could take out Tigers and Panthers with a single shot. It played a huge role in the Battle of Berlin, so no serious World War II diorama feels complete without it. Model brands love the IS-2. You'll find kits from Tamiya, Zvezda, Trumpeter, Mini Art, Dragon, from beginner-friendly to ultra-detailed. Tons of customization options. Muddy and battle-worn in Poland, covered in victory slogans in Berlin, or even a captured one in German camo. And let's be honest, it just looks awesome. Massive, powerful, and packed with history. If you don't have an IS-2 in your collection yet, well, it's about time. The IS-2 isn't just a World War II legend. It remained in service until 1993. After the war, it saw action in the Korean War, Arab-Israeli conflicts, and even Vietnam. The M1 Abrams is the first tank that comes to mind when talking about modern armored vehicles. It has been serving the US and its allies for over 40 years, seeing action in multiple conflicts. Why is it a must-have for modelers? Huge selection of kits: Tamiya, Meng, Rye Field Model, Academy, Dragon. From beginner-friendly to ultra-detailed interior versions. Lots of variants: M1, M1A1, M1A2, SEP, plus export versions for Saudi Arabia, Egypt, and Poland. Different paint schemes: classic desert camo for Iraq, NATO green, or urban camouflage for city combat. Famous in movies and games: Battlefield, Call of Duty, Armored Warfare. Everyone knows this tank. Perfect for dioramas. Recreate desert warfare, urban battles, or NATO military exercises. The Abrams is the symbol of modern armor, and if you're a modeler, your collection isn't complete without it. Another modern legend, the Leopard II, Europe's most famous battle tank. It serves in Germany and dozens of countries, has been used in NATO missions, combat in Syria, and since 2023, it has also seen action in the war in Ukraine. Why is it a must-have for modelers? Huge variety of kits: Revel, Tamiya, Meng, RFM, plus ICM Reebox versions. Multiple variants, from the Leopard 2A4 to the advanced 2A7 Plus, including export versions: Canada, Spain, Sweden, and more. Diverse paint schemes: classic NATO green, desert camo, winter camouflage, or modern Ukrainian battlefield liveries. Cultural icon, featured in video games, movies, and real-world news, making it instantly recognizable even outside the modeling world. The Leopard 2 is the gold standard of modern tanks, and no serious model collection is complete without it. The Centurion is another true legend, setting the standard for post-war tank design. It entered service at the end of World War II, but remained active for decades. It fought in Korea, Vietnam, and the Middle East, and in South Africa, it stayed in service until 2011. Why is it a must-have for modelers? Great selection of kits: Tamiya, AFV Club, Amusing Hobby, Tacom, Meng. You can find basic kits and ultra-detailed versions with full interiors and photo-etched parts. Tons of variants: British Mark III and Mark V, Israeli Shote, South African Oliphant, Australian Vietnam-era versions. Endless camo and diorama options. British tanks in Korea, Israeli ones in the desert, South African jungle camo, or a battle-damaged Centurion on the Golan Heights. Iconic presence, seen in war documentaries, movies, games, and books. The Centurion is one of the defining tanks of the 20th century, and no model collection is complete without it. The KV-1 and KV-2 heavy tanks are true icons of the early Eastern Front. In 1941, they were almost invincible to German guns, and a single KV could hold off an entire enemy column. Why are they must-haves for modelers? Wide range of kits: Tamiya, Trumpeter, Hobby Boss, Zvezda, Bronco. You'll find beginner-friendly kits as well as high-detail versions with interiors, photo etch, and workable tracks. Multiple variants: early KV-1 with riveted armor, later cast turret versions, the KV-1E with extra armor, and of course, the massive KV-2 with its bunker-sized turret. Historic importance: These tanks fought in Leningrad, Moscow, and the Volkhov Front, with legendary stories of single KVs holding up German advances for an entire day. Diverse paint schemes, classic Soviet green, winter white camouflage, battlefield markings, and even captured German KVs with Balkenkreuz. Perfect for dioramas, depict a desperate 1941 defense, wrecked KVs on the battlefield, or even a recovery scene with a heavy-duty tank tow. The KV-1 is a true armored powerhouse, while the KV-2 is one of the most unique tanks ever built. No serious model collection is complete without them. M3. Lee is one of those tanks that you just can't ignore in scale modeling. First of all, it has a very unique look. A gun mounted on the side of the hull, plus another one in the turret. That alone makes it stand out and fun to build. On top of that, this tank took part in key battles of World War II. It was used by the Americans, the British, and Soviet forces, meaning there are plenty of camouflage schemes and modifications to choose from. It fought against Tigers in North Africa, was supplied to the USSR through Lend-Lease, and even saw action in the Pacific against Japanese tanks. Model kit manufacturers haven't overlooked it either. Companies like Tamiya, Academy, and MiniArt have released fantastic kits, some with full interiors, making it perfect for dioramas. Add a crew, some weathering, and battleware, and you'll have a model full of character. So, M3 Lee isn't just another tank. It's a real playground for creativity. The T-55 is a true classic in scale modeling. It's not the rarest or most unusual tank, but it's so iconic that it simply has to be in any collection. First of all, it's one of the most mass-produced tanks in history. Tens of thousands were built. It served in dozens of countries, fought all over the world, and is still in service in some places. That means there are countless camouflage schemes and modifications to choose from. You can build a Soviet version, an Egyptian, Iraqi, Yugoslav, Afghan, or even a captured one from a modern conflict. Second, the T-55 has a very recognizable shape, with a simple yet elegant design. Assembling it is pure joy, especially if you choose a good kit. MiniArt offers amazing models with full interiors, Tacom has some great versions, and Tamiya is perfect for those who want a smooth and enjoyable build without too much complexity. On top of that, the T-55 looks fantastic in dioramas. You can weather it with dirt, dust, battle damage, add a crew, place it in an urban battle or a desert scene. The possibilities are endless. If you're serious about scale modeling, having at least one T-55 in your collection is just a matter of time. And the leader based on your comments, of course, is the Panther. This tank is one of the most iconic and respected among modelers. Its elegant silhouette, sloped armor, and powerful gun make it not only a formidable war machine, but also an incredibly appealing model to build. The Panther was designed as a response to the Soviet T-34 and became one of the best medium tanks of World War II. With so many versions and modifications, you can choose the one that suits you best, from early models with bolted armor to late war versions with improved suspension. Model kit manufacturers offer some fantastic options. Tamiya is great for those who want a smooth and high-quality build, while Tacom and RFM cater to detail enthusiasts. The Panther fits perfectly into any diorama. You can depict it in battle, abandoned, knocked out, or even used post-war. No matter the scene, this tank always looks impressive. So, if you haven't built a Panther yet, maybe it's time to change that. That's it for today. This ranking was based on your comments. So huge, thanks to everyone who shared their opinions. If you missed the previous part, you can find the link in the description. Be sure to leave your thoughts in the comments. Your feedback is really important to me. See you next time and take care.